Is the co-op community nice? Just played the demo of this game and I'm considering buying the full version, but before I buy, I wanted to know what the co-op community is like. I'm not interested in competitive play. Alright, well, I guess, on the subject of this post, as far as is the community nice, I would say most times yes. And honestly, if you're not interested in competitive play, you should know that this game can get pretty sweaty. Now, I know what you're asking. Why am I reading this post specifically? Well, first of all, this sentiment of, trying to see if the community is nice or toxic or whatever, I've seen this quite a bit recently, mainly because of the demo. So I actually wanted to provide a few examples of how I think the community has been acting recently. We have been talking about, people stealing healing and all of this sort of stuff. However, we're gonna go in a bad example, good example strategy here. So first bad example of how the community's been acting recently. Got kicked before boss room, beware of traitors. This is unfortunate. Beware of these two space marines, especially this traitor who kicked me right before the boss on Reliquary. Yes, sometimes you get this, where you will unfortunately get kicked for no reason. Now, this one is rare. I have pretty close to 1,000 hours in this game. I was kicked once. I mean, honestly, I can remember getting kicked once, and that was the one time where I picked up a stim and I had a guardian relic, but I also broke a box to get another stim for one of my teammates. They kicked me right before I pinged the extra stim, and everyone had stims anyway. It was so ridiculous. But yes, sometimes you can run into teammates who perhaps aren't very aware of whatever you're doing and just kick you. That's unfortunate. Not too sure what this scenario here is. I actually looked into the comments. It doesn't seem like the original poster talked about the details of the situation at all, but still, yes, sometimes you can get kicked right before. This is Reliquary, by the way, so this is a painful kick, 100%. Why are some people like this? Am I the only one experiencing this? So this is the post that basically inspired me to make this video, because I thought this story was honestly pretty interesting. Because first of all, we've seen a fair amount of people, talk about toxic players or players who aren't good teammates or whatever, getting kicked. Well, this is the other side of that coin. So this is my first post here, and I usually don't spend a lot of time on Reddit, so excuse me if I do something wrong. I was doing the daily stratagem in Space Marine 2 today, Inferno, normal with the conditions Tactical Weakness, Astra Militarum, and I decided to do that with my maxed out Bulwark. Nice. Also, yeah, maxed out Bulwark. Good for you. Little side note, I can play lethal without breaking a sweat, and absolute is okay too, even though it's challenging sometimes. Not trying to praise myself or anything, just trying to explain the skill level I'm currently at. I thought I would go for a normal, since I don't mind getting 10 extra accolades and maybe helping some new players, especially since the demo version came out on Steam. And I get joined by a sniper prestige 1 level 13, and I notice he's rushing this extremely, not looking out for anything or anyone, as it turns out later. At first, I was like, okay, I don't mind rushing this, but then another player joined who picked Tactical, even with his disadvantage, and he was just level 16, no prestige. So this Tactical, since there is Tactical Weakness, effectively, this is great by the way, effectively has 50% less health, is doing less damage, and can't parry, right? That's insane. That's insane. So this is a pretty funny situation, because on one hand, we have the sniper, who is obviously rushing through this mission, probably doesn't care about anyone but himself, and, is likely picking up a lot of stims that he doesn't need or something like that. I mean, he's a sniper. You have purification. You should be good for a while. And we have a player who joined a daily and didn't read the condition. So this scenario has everything. Now, this is a pretty funny way to set up how is this community's co-op situation? Is co-op nice? Is co-op, toxic or whatever? Well, sometimes co-op is just very chaotic, and I think that is more accurate than saying people are mean or nice in the, for most players. In the co-op section, yeah, most times you will find people who are willing to help. But a lot of times you get situations like this, where you get somebody that joined the game who practically nerfed themselves by accident extremely, and then you also have somebody in the game who is quote-unquote a tryhard, I guess. And yeah, let's see how this ends up working out. The way he played the game, he either bit off more than he could chew with his decision to play tactical. No, he first of all, guys, read the conditions before you jump into the dailies. This tactical would have picked this daily. He directly would have picked this daily to queue into. Or he was just someone new to the game. Either way, he started to fall behind and get his butt kicked sometimes, so I decided to kind of stick with him from time to time to help him out, and even use the invigorating icon class gear perk on one major so he could get his health back. I also pointed out every stim and armor boost I saw for him. Alright. So shout out to this original poster, because I am really happy with how they are playing around this situation. Now, I would be a little bit cautious of sending the tactical too many heals. I mean, honestly, hitting them with the icon, allowing them to have a stim, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not saying give them don't give them a guardian relic, but yeah, heal them. That's fair. All that while, the sniper, full on stims he picked on his way, that's rough, stood at the next door or blockade the whole time, pinging it, so we'd go there while Tactical was clearly still in some fights. He couldn't leave, also getting his butt kicked again, and the sniper just let the enemy's aggro go on the Tactical. I don't know what kind of behavior that is, but the sniper guy was always first at the door, but never wanted to open it while standing right next to it. Okay, that's weirdly arbitrary, but yeah, this sniper feels like he's on his phone or something. He would rather wait 2 to 3 minutes until someone else pressed it, but he was also rushing all of the time. Yeah, no, honestly, yeah, dude, that person is not all the way there in the game. Is that some kind of pride or something? Like, I am so much better than you, I won't do that, you can do that, this is beneath me? No, I don't get that vibe at all. Or what goes through someone's mind at that moment? Well, I genuinely think the sniper was on his phone or something. But dude, shout out to this player for, playing around the tactical. Even though the tactical made a bad decision, this player is helping them with that. So honestly, I think this is a really good example of what the community toxicity levels are. There's sometimes one tryhard, sometimes there's a player who's way over his head, and then there's a player who makes everything stick together, essentially. This bulwark is able to heal the tactical while also providing support for the teammates overall just by playing banner. And yeah, it feels like the sniper kind of stayed away from the bulwark, but still, we have to admit, if this bulwark went down, they'd be in a pretty rough spot. As I said, he would do that multiple times, just standing at the front waiting until we got there. Even in the arming the bombs part, he was like 50 meters away from us, seeing us fight and just ignoring the fight for a whole 5 minutes. Yeah, this guy was on his phone, man. This guy was on his phone. To be fair, I don't see players just AFK in the middle of missions that much at all. In fact, look, I don't mind that. I can solo higher missions on my own, and I don't have a problem doing that, but this other guy was clearly not prepared for that mission, or just new, and could have used some help. Are you talking? I think he's talking about the tactical. Dude, no, the tactical, it wasn't about being prepared. It was about reading. The tactical knowingly, I don't know about knowingly, accidentally, probably, jumped into the daily and nerfed himself by 50%. And he's not even prestige. Like, dude, that's insane. Oh my gosh. Dude, those class nerf conditions really have to go away, because people just don't read them, apparently. The sniper even decided to take a guardian relic for himself while the tactical was mortally wounded. Now, see, this, honestly, this one I'm not too concerned with. The tactical is 50% nerfed. I did say, like, I do think this, if you gave the tactical a guardian relic, that's like, alright, that's fine, I guess. You're protecting this one player. But to be honest, you know what? If the sniper didn't need it, or if the bulwark didn't need it, as in they didn't go down, then, you know what? Yeah, fine. Give the tactical the relic. If both players are confident enough to play without the relic, yeah, give it to the third guy. Why not? I didn't see the sniper struggle once, even use the stims at all. Purification, yeah, I probably can do that. Dude, this sniper, very annoying. I don't know. Maybe I'm too nice, but I would give that to the players who actually could use it, even if they waste it, but especially when I am sure I can handle the mission without it. Yeah, no, that is the, I think that's the defining trait right there. Do you need the relic on this normal daily? If you don't, then sure, give it to the tactical who accidentally nerfed himself. I would not recommend doing this on hard mode. In hard mode, if you're in this situation, just leave. Just leave. But not only that, I had to fight a Carnifex on my own as well. Again, not a problem, but like, WTF? Even the tactical, still mortally wounded, joined in. Okay, so then you didn't fight it on your own. And the sniper just started attacking when the Carnifex was almost dead, spamming his attacks, probably hoping for the execute or something. I mean, hey, at least the sniper jumped in. But, dude, I'm actually very happy to see that this tactical jumped into the Carnifex fight. Dude, this is a great story. You guys can see why I wanted to use this as an example of how the community's been acting recently, or if the community is toxic, or if the community is positive. I think this is a very spot-on example of what you can expect in some of these missions. Maybe like most of them. Probably not most of them. It depends on the difficulty. But for the most part, normal stratagems, yeah, there's normally one player who's playing selfishly. There's one player who's way in over his head and has no idea what he's doing. And then there's one player just keeping them all together, which is the bulwark in this case, the original poster. In the end, he used his camo ability and slow walk to the LZ. He was also dressed up with some Space Wolf champion pack stuff. It had some weird name like whatever, Space Wolf guy. So my guess would be he's either 12 or just in his own little world. I don't know if he needs to be a certain age for that, but this does not look good for Space Wolf players, I'll tell you that much, dude. Space Wolf players, man, get your guy. Get your guy. This is how he waited at every point, kissing the wall like it's his girlfriend or something. Oh, he has a picture down here. We will show that. Yes, I am playing a Deathwatch Salamander Bulwark. Okay. Oh, yes, one last thing. I have noticed that kind of behavior, rushing forward, taking everything, blaming everyone for everything. Actually, so far in your story, the sniper didn't say anything, right? He just pinged stuff. He didn't really, he didn't get toxic over voice chat, so that's good. Just being a jerk in general more often. Oh, I've noticed this kind of behavior, people playing like jerks more often. Okay, is this just me having bad luck getting those kinds of people, or is the community shifting? Because I'm actually used to a very beginner and just general friendly community in which you have to scream at each other for not stealing stims, but for actually trying to give someone stims, because everyone refuses it, trying to help one another. Okay, so here is a very good example how the community has been acting recently. I mean, dude, honestly, this is pretty on point. He's used to players basically not picking up stims because everyone's trying to help out each other, just to clarify that at the end there. But yeah, that is definitely pretty interesting. Oh yeah, let's show off the quick picture right here. Yeah, okay, so it looks like the sniper's just hanging by the door. The door's not even open, dude. Yeah, if the door's not open, this sniper was not doing the right thing. He was probably on his phone or something. But hey, at least he's on normal. Throw out a For the Emperor right at the beginning. If I get a quick response, typically a good teammate. No response, a heretic. Okay. A heretic, unrepentant in his ways. All right, this is a pretty interesting way to measure how aware your teammates are. Now, if you say For the Emperor and they don't say anything, that doesn't mean they're a heretic. However, it may mean they're not going to pay attention if you ping something. But okay, so let's say you do a For the Emperor and they say like respect, or they refuse, God forbid. I still think that's fair. They're at least paying attention to the call-outs, essentially. This is basically what they're referring to here. It's basically like a mini call-out where it's like, hey, you guys with me? Let's do this. The Space Marine 2 community basically suffers from three main problems. Most are people who just want to press W and see the victory screen, and if they die, it's the game's fault. Speedrunners that want to max out all their stuff but are not learning the combat encounters by doing so. Yeah, that I feel like number 2 is definitely dangerous. If you're a new player, take your time. Do not worry about how fast it takes to, get a relic weapon or anything like that. You are fine. You're not really missing out on anything for being under-leveled or anything like that. So just take your time, play the game, get good, and then you don't even need to worry about levels or perks or, weapon rarity or anything like that. Eventually, you're just going to be able to jump into lethal or ruthless with like a master-crafted bolt carbine, and that is how you're going to level up. So you have to get good, and then you can get more experience by basically punching up difficulties. But yeah, you have to be good first. People who call others elitists if they try to explain to them how to improve for absolute hard stratagems and outright ignore their tips and help. I've never seen that. To be honest, I've never seen that. I would say number 1 and 2 I'd mix together into like the same person. And then number 3, I don't know. I would just call those casual players. I don't think it's a problem though. I would say number 3 is casual players who are jumping in hard mode, probably. I have never seen a player base that is so oblivious to the concept of target priority, positioning, and mastering the fundamentals of the game while pushing for top difficulties. I will admit, I agree. I don't know if it's oblivious. I feel like sometimes we get like these, especially right now, considering there's a free demo and stuff. There's a lot of times where we get new player waves, and this is definitely a new player wave, 100%. In fact, this entire year 2, we've been dealing with on and off new player waves. But yeah, this is honestly this is pretty accurate. I will say positioning is kind of in the middle ground. Target priority is, it depends. If you ping a Biovore, normally your teammates will wake up. And mastering it's the fundamentals. The fundamentals is the thing that just like took a dive off the cliff, dude. When it comes to fundamentals in this game, people are just not very aware. The new players, it's hard to learn the fundamentals because the fundamentals honestly don't become detrimental until higher difficulties. And then if you're rushing to higher difficulties, you're not even paying attention to how you can clear a mortal wound. You're just trying to survive against an enraged major. So that is why fundamentals are seemingly not there all the time with their teammates. Every single post I see is about nerfing the game itself and never about how to improve. When you end up with a good group, the game becomes a joke, even with the top difficulties. I wouldn't go that far. I would say, though, I do agree with the people would rather ask for nerfs rather than ask how to improve. I agree with that. That is not just this game. That is kind of like the new wave of gamers as far as a generation goes, to be honest, which is unfortunate. But it's fine. To be completely honest, what I try to do is, let's talk about both. Let's talk about both. We'll talk about what needs a nerf or what is bugged, and we will also tell you how to improve. So now you have both cakes, and now it's up to you. If you want to be the cake, if you want to eat the cake that is full of excuses and that's gross by the end of eating it, that's on you. But if you want to eat the cake that is full of knowledge and very, very good, then yeah, sometimes you just have to admit that you need to improve to get the good cake, right? It is such a weird analogy, but honestly kind of worked out. When you end up with a good group, the game becomes a joke, even in the top difficulties. I disagree with that. I think if you end up with a meta group, sure, but you're going to have to play it still very accurately. You're going to have to make sure you never make a mistake with the meta, because then it doesn't become a joke anymore. Now you guys might actually have to try. No, but seriously though, there are moments that ask for meta, like distinctively, like hard siege mode. I've recently seen, Hayes did what, 40 beat wave 40? Dude, that's insane. I remember seeing FTG hit wave 40, and I thought to myself, wow, that's probably impossible. And yeah, dude, they pulled it off. So there's a moment for everyone in this game. There are sweaty moments, there are casual moments. If you're a new player, do not worry about getting through this game as quick as possible. Do not worry about leveling up as quick as possible. Just learn. Just learn. And yeah, then you'll be fine. But yeah, as far as the toxicity of the community recently, it's less toxic and more sloppy. There's going to be a lot of weird situations where you see players ignoring stims that they should be picking up. Like that sort of thing. So I would say it's goofy. I would say it's in a goofy spot right now. However, since we, saw that story, there are players holding teams together. So you really don't have to worry about if you jump into normal stratagems, level 18 heavy, you're a new player, you have a Artificer multi-melta or heavy bolter or something, you don't have to worry about that. You're good. You're good. As long as you are playing with your teammates, you don't have to worry about a sniper ruining your moment. So as long as you understand the game, in the moments where you do have a sniper who's not helping you, as long as you understand the game, you can protect yourself. If the sniper is not helping you and you're kind of like surrounded, you need to be comfortable in those moments so that sniper doesn't get to you, essentially. So yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to play out of moments alone. However, most times you will not. For the most part, this community online has been very, very fun to play with. So that's great. But yeah, sometimes there's some things that you just can't expect, and you kind of have to improv a bit. So yeah, don't worry about if things don't go by, the textbook. Don't worry about it. However, try your best to make sure everyone has heals, and try your best to, help your teammates. Go for the objectives, that sort of thing. So yeah, honestly, I will say this community is in a good spot, mostly. But yeah, sometimes you get those moments where players get kicked and that sort of thing. That was a whole deal. I remember back in the day, as in like months ago, we talked about players getting kicked too often. And then the devs actually did adjust that a little bit, but I'm not too sure what happened since then. Because yeah, that last post we saw the player getting kicked in Reliquary, that was like right before the boss fight. So not too sure what is going on with kicks anymore. But yeah, perhaps as far as kicking recently, I haven't seen anybody complain about kicks too much. That was the first kick post I've seen in a while. So yeah, I mean, to answer the question, is the co-op community nice? Yeah, it is nice. But we're also trying to slay a whole bunch of, the Xenos. So you don't really have to be too concerned with how our manners are, and just be more concerned with how we learn the game, the fundamentals of the game. Yeah, if you're a new player, just take your time, learn all of the mechanics, and trust me, when you think you learned everything, there's probably one or two things you still need to learn. But yeah, 99% of the game you can play without worrying about, meta or toxicity or anything like that. So that's good to see. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.